Golf Podcast, episode number 109. We have a couple of special guests on, employees and representatives from the Alamo City Golf Trail. Hopefully I say their names correctly. We got the Director of Marketing, Ruben, Carevo, and Director of Golf Operations, Kevin Molyneaux. All right? Molyneaux. I think that's Molyneaux. All right? Now, a word from our sponsors before we kick things off here. Nothing is Obi South Texas Golf Podcast is presented by FOREBROS Tour. Never golf alone again. If you don't have a home, FOREBROS Tour has a home for you. We've got all different. We got all different types of games. We got net. We got gross. Never golf alone again. FOREBROS Golf Tour is the place for you. Make sure you check us out. Nothing is Obi South Texas Golf Podcast is presented by FOREBROS Tour. Okay, there you go. It's got some technical difficulties over here, right here. All right, guys, make sure you check out my sponsor, presenting sponsor, FOREBROS Tour. Never golf alone again. If you don't have a home, FOREBROS Tour has a home for you. We got all different types of games, net, gross, playing some of the best courses in and around the greater San Antonio area. Please check us out on Unknown Golf. All right, never golf alone again. FOREBROS Golf Tour. Also, we got a special read from right here from another supporter of the podcast. We got Join Golf Pass. Now make sure, guys, join Golf Pass, the world's most marketable golf club today, and save hundreds every year on tee times at thousands of Golf Now and tee off courses, tailor-made gear, live event coverage with Peacock, plus access pro tips from and lessons from tour players like Rory McIlroy. Learn more at golfpass.com. Also tonight, I will be giving away 2 one-year free subscriptions to golfpass.com. You can access several courses with some great hot deals out here. All right, guys, now let's bring on our special guest. Welcome to the show, Kevin and Ruben. Thank you so much, guys, for being on this evening.
Thanks for having us, Andy.
Hi, Kevin. Yeah, we got you. Thanks so much, guys. And I know it means a lot to me. I really wanted to thank y'all for being on. You didn't have to be on tonight. I know there was a lot of chatter. There was a lot of excitement over the town hall question and answer y'all had last week. Sure. And so that's what this is a recap of. And you know what? And I kind of want to be able to give the viewers and the audience the opportunity to, ask some questions that maybe weren't brought up and they weren't discussed. But at the same time, guys, make sure all you listeners out there and all my audience understand that my golf podcast is it's a place for safety for my guests. So make sure we ask kindly, we ask properly. Anything vulgar, anything explicit will not be posted on here. I will not stand for it. So make sure, guys, we respect our guests. And again, I thank y'all so much for being on.
Thanks again for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. And by the way, it's Molyneaux. You were
close. Molyneaux. I was close, man. I was close. I was working on that one, Molyneaux.
You're among the 99%, so don't feel too bad.
Dang, man. Dang. Well, guys, I thought it was a great event that occurred last week. I know when talking off air, Ruben, you kind of stated, in that you weren't happy with the attendance and you're hoping for more.
Right.
And, we'll kind of get into that later. And I think that kind of benefited me a little bit. And for those of y'all that don't know, I was going to live stream it. Ruben politely asked me to not stream it. And you know what? Ruben, you brought up a great point out of the respect of the people in attendance. He said that you'd appreciate it if I didn't live stream it because to make sure that, we don't want any repercussions or anything to happen, for people. We all have jobs. And some people who care a lot about golf in San Antonio, and a lot of people care about the trail.
Definitely. I think specifically about that, we really didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. And so, it was a little bit guarded from my perspective. Just we didn't know exactly what was going to happen. So I appreciate you, not live streaming it. Granted, there wasn't any drama. So hopefully nobody's really surprised by that, but there wasn't a whole lot of drama. There was a little bit of, I wouldn't even say heated discussion, but there were some, opinions made, and that's fine. That's kind of actually what we expected and what we were inviting. That's for sure.
Now, Andrew Peterson kicked everything off by kind of stating his and I said it to you even through a text. I said the general state of the union, right? General state of the union of municipal golf here in town. Now, just kind of the points, Andrew, and maybe if you could help us out. He talked about the number of rounds that was being done, the course conditions, his expectations, where you want to be, what's going on with Riverside. If y'all can kind of maybe just somebody can take it just kind of as to where like the state of municipal golf is for the Alamo City Trail here in San Antonio.
I'll start,
Yeah,
Ruben. I can certainly I can speak to the volume, and it really happened overnight. We got shut down for COVID. Just like everyone else. And we were one of the first things to open back up, and the bars were still closed. So we had a bunch of new golfers that were coming out, and they weren't really golfers yet. We did convert quite a few, but really they were just looking to get outside and maybe have a drink and have some fun. From that, we basically went from doing 290,000 rounds a year to doing 425,000 rounds. So essentially, our volume increased, our revenue increased, but our complaints increased. The foot traffic on the golf courses increased, and it's been a good problem to have, but we've had to learn how to navigate around that. Certainly, the extra resources have helped, but we're obviously doing a lot of capital improvement projects right now, and we will continue to. The main thing that we're not struggling with, but a concern of ours that we see going forward is it's been extremely tough finding labor here. A lot of people didn't want to work right after COVID or during COVID, and it's been tough to find more labor even now still. And so we've been increasing our wages semi-annually, and we're going to continue to do that. And not just the wages, but we're going to increase the staffing at the golf course for the agronomy team and the clubhouse team. I think pre-COVID, we were usually doing about 5 people per day in the clubhouse. So that would just mean 3 people in the morning and 2 people in the afternoon. And now we're doing a lot of 4 and 4s, or a 4 and a couple mids and 3 closers. So our staffing levels have already increased. But I think the main priority going forward is increasing the budget on the agronomy side. Our equipment costs and our fertilizers and chemicals have nearly doubled. So there's been a lot of challenges that we've come across. Certainly, I think that we've worked very hard to get to this point for the volume that we've had. We didn't really think that it would hit us overnight, but it's been challenging and rewarding at the same time.
Now that's one thing that Andrew stated. Sorry, my throat's kind of messing up here. Now that's one thing that Andrew stated, that he spoke about bringing that number of 425,000 rounds at all your facilities, bringing that down to around 390. Now, what were some of the options that were kind of presented that will kind of take some heat off of your courses?
Well, I think that the simple answer is to raise the price. That's really just a math equation. We can raise the price and do less rounds that way, and still get to where we need to with less foot traffic. That's probably the easy solution, but not the best solution for everyone. And we strongly believe that we have one of the better values in town. We're not the best golf courses, but we're certainly not the most expensive ones either. So our role in the golf market here is always going to be volume, and it's always about providing the best value. So I think that there is going to have to be a small increase, but it's certainly going to be less of an increase than a lot of the area courses around town that have skyrocketed since COVID hit.
Now, when we talk about increase, what are we talking about? Like $2 or $3? And when was Ruben? When was the last rate increase?
October is when our fiscal year begins. So that's basically when Andrew goes to the board with whatever changes we want to make in regards to rates and gets approval through the board. And so they get implemented October 1st. We're not looking for anything dramatic. We're talking maybe $1 to $3, I think is the number on that we've been playing with. But ultimately, the goal is to reduce traffic on the courses while still maintaining enough revenue to continue to do the projects that we've been doing, almost Riverside. And then we can talk about later what the plans are for other courses that are coming up for renovation. But, like Kevin alluded to, seed, herbicides, fertilizers, equipment is close to doubled in the last 2 years. And the same thing that's going like as an example, the used car market, cars that you were buying 10 years ago are basically going for the same price as they are now on a used market. And the same thing has happened on the golf courses. So along with small slight rate increases or green fee increases, we're going to try and go to 10-minute increments and just slow down the pace and the impact of golfers and car traffic on the golf courses.
Now, I know y'all operate the Alamo City Golf Trail is, for those people that don't know, is a management group, right? If I'm not mistaken, right? It's a management organization. Yeah. It's a nonprofit, correct, right? Organization that is hired by the city. Because a lot of times people think that y'all are the city.
Yeah, and that's actually, one of the things, the reason for this town hall, it was a good opportunity for us to really talk about the structure of the Alamo City Golf Trail, what our mission is. We have one customer. It's the city of San Antonio. It's from a management standpoint, and then all the citizens of San Antonio are our actual golf customers. So unlike a Troon or something like that, or an Arcus Golf that's operating golf courses purely for profit and rolling profits and sending them off to another city or another state, we keep the profits in-house. And a perfect example is Almost Basin. It was completely paid for by profits, and the same thing with Riverside that's coming up. So we're not going to outside sources, and we're not trying to gouge the public for something that you don't see. We're basically paying our employees and maintaining the golf courses and upgrading, hopefully, because a lot of these golf courses are old.
Right here,
even the youngest ones.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Go ahead. I'm ready to.
Right here. We're right here. Esteban, with the increases, what can be promised to us as the consumer to see our dollar impacting for a better experience?
Kevin, you want to take that one?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is going to be pace of play, moving tee time increments. Starting in the fall, we're planning on moving increments from 9 to 10 in between tee times. I think that alone will help pace of play. It's still going to be busy. It won't be as busy, and it'll probably be around 10% less busy. But I think that the flow will go much better. We're going to institute marshals onto the golf course on the weekends, and certainly it's something that we can schedule throughout the week if there's a need. But we're going to start out doing it on the weekends, and really the goal is just to help with the pace of play and the customer experience. We understand that we don't do a great job right now getting onto the golf course and actually seeing what's going on. And one of the issues from the Q&A last week was there was a lot of tenured guys there that have a lot of experience with our golf courses and really golf all around the world. And their main frustration really wasn't about price or anything. It was about there's so many new golfers that are uneducated, and they want us to help educate them. And I thought that was a great point. We need to do a better job educating the newer golfers, being on time for their tee time, knowing when to check in with the starter, knowing which tees to play from, knowing everything there is about golf etiquette and pace of play. So I think just having a presence on the golf course will help educate the newer golfers. And then certainly if there's an issue, they can address it on the spot. But if there's slow play, they can find out why, and then they can get it fixed.
Now, one thing that was brought up, I think you had some very informed people. It seemed like everybody who was there kind of did some of their homework, right? They did some of the homework. They weren't just blurting out stupid things. Yes, it was heated. But you had one of the customers talk about a situation that occurred at Cedar and having a 5-some or a 6-some in front of them, right? And this is going back to what you talked about, Kevin, in regards to an uneducated golfer, the new golfer, right? Now, Andrew specifically, or some one of the customers or one of the patrons asked, why can't we get more marshals on the weekend? And you know what? A lot of times, other courses or private courses or even semi-private courses, have a marshal program to where for what they get in return, for doing two 5-hour shifts, 2 6-hour shifts, they get around the golf. Now, I know Andrew stated that, I guess because of the relationship with the city, that Alamo City Golf Trail courses are unable to do something like that. But I think that, if I'm not mistaken, in looking it up, that as long as a waiver is signed of liability, that is something that could possibly or potentially be done.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of information on that. Ruben, I don't know if you know anything more on that. I know it's an issue with, I know even with the waiver that it wasn't something the city was allowing us to do. But Ruben, I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
Yeah, I just had a discussion actually with Andrew specifically about this. Other than the fact that there is somewhat of a liability issue with having extra people on staff, even if they're volunteers, we would prefer them to be paid employees because we would ask for them to do things beyond just the marshaling. I think that sometimes you get into a situation where you've got a volunteer and they really don't do all that you want them to do. So if somebody's driving around the golf course, a perfect example would be to, pick up a rope that's fallen down or been knocked down or cut or kicked over, things like that, moving some of the traffic control that we've got in place to keep the course free from either picking up trash. So we're going to ask for them to do a little bit more, and I think it's worth it to us to pay these employees. And also, as an Alamo City Golf Trail employee, they'll get free golf, so that comes with it. But for us, we're going to ask them to do a little bit more than just driving around in the golf cart and handling pace of play issues. And I think that's really where it comes in. We, because we're going to ask them to do more, we actually are going to end up paying them. And that's part of what, the whole budgeting process has been about, adding, if you just do the math, it's close to $250,000 a year just in marshals. And that's, at a minimum pay for our minimum pay scale plus free golf. And that's times, 7 courses.
Well, right here, I got Arnold Garcia. Sign me up. LOL, free golf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Sign up on our website. Every Alamo City Golf Trail employee, if they work, what's the minimum? It was 18 hours? Kevin?
18 hours, yeah.
18 hours. They get free golf, and that includes a cart, and you can play anywhere.
Now, one of the things right here, I'm seeing some of the comments right here, and thank you for everybody who's commenting right here tonight. Now, one of the big things that you had a lot of customers upset about, and always Ruben as being the admin for San Antonio golfers, is that you always see it about course conditions, right? Course conditions.
Yes.
Something specifically that was discussed was how in 8 months as almost was being opened, you had more issues. And I think a lot of times you had issues with that number 2 green, right? That number 2 green. And and sometimes, like, I remember, there has always been issues before the course had been redone with that green. And then you move it out, you have it you have that one redone,
sure.
Right? You have it moved out. And then, as of, I guess, 6 months ago, or I couldn't tell you how many months ago, you had it,
right.
A temporary green. And as of a month, it's already, the green has been back, as,
right.
The past month. Now,
sure.
We got, people were upset, and people were talking about right here, like right here, Escobar, why the increase for the price courses that aren't up to par? And I know that was something that Andrew was really, really, and then also I don't want to say his name incorrectly, Jake, y'all's head.
Jake, yeah. Uh-huh. Jake Snyman.
Yeah, Jake Snyman, the head of agronomy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about, why some of the courses weren't up to par. And right here, again, is like, I feel like ACGT will raise the prices and nothing will change.
Well, as part of the reduction in play is we're going to also implement close days. If you look at any private course around, they're typically closed on Mondays. And if you look at ACGT courses, we never close, for the most part. 2 days, maybe 1 day for aerification. We're going to implement changes where, like, if we're aerifying, we're going to close the course for an entire week. Now, it's just not for the greens to recover, but that's also to get done a lot of the maintenance things that do get skipped because there's so much play on the golf courses. We really don't catch a break. And, we talk about it in the office all the time. Like, if somebody walked across your lawn every day, 200 times a day, you wouldn't have any grass in that location. And the same thing goes for everything on the golf course, where you can see where the carts go. You can tell where the carts go. You can tell where people walk. And it does have an impact on turf conditions, because it's not AstroTurf. Everything takes time. Even when, through this past troubles that we had specifically at BRAC as an example, it just takes time for that stuff to recover, 1, 2, 2.5 months of, taking, a lot of hits online and customers face to face. And I just want everybody to understand, we're actually on the course every day. We see the courses, there's a definitely a give a what about how the course conditions are. And, to echo Andrew's statements in the meeting, we're not happy either. And a lot of heat it runs downhill, so to speak. And, a lot of people taking heat for the conditions of the courses. And, there's been a lot of changes internally as far as fertilization and, speed and activity. But if you really think about what the hardest thing is for us, and Kevin mentioned it, it's difficult to hire people, on the agronomy staff, specifically talking about that. Typical golf course, let's say Oak Hills, perfect example, local course, private course, is probably running between 24 to 27 people on their agronomy staff alone. You guys have any idea what we're running at any one of our courses? 6, 7, right? So that's a large expense for us. And I think, ultimately we're kind of playing catch up. The amount of play that we're getting, I think we're, maybe we thought this wasn't going to last as long, and maybe we were a little slow on reacting to it as far as hiring additional staff, jumping on the Marshall train and things like that. And I think that's what you're seeing is, we're trying to adapt. So we need to work it from both sides, slow down the amount of play, and get more people on staff. I think it's going to really make a significant impact on the conditions of the courses. Just only so many hours in the day with play actively on the courses.
Now that's one thing. That was my question when in the panel. Like, I think a lot of my questions were kind of answered. I was like, I had a lot, right? A lot of my questions were answered from, the other patrons there asking, certain questions. That was my concern, because I saw, like I stated, told Andrew, I said, I looked at my Facebook memories, they pop up that at the same time, 3 years straight, BRAC had the same issues.
Yes.
And you talk about that. Like, that's where your office is. Kevin, is that where your office is as well?
I'm over at Northern Hills.
Okay. So you can't say, hey, I didn't see the course. And that's the thing, what it's like. And that's kind of something that's really frustrating as a golfer, as somebody who, and I want to thank you, Ruben. You gave me like a stack of books on golf history, about BRAC. And for somebody like myself, and for several of the patrons that were there who love this game, love this city, BRAC is like a gem in the state for, the oldest, Texas public golf course. And to see it, constantly.
I'm there now.
You're in the pond at 18, right? And to see it in 3 years straight, like that's really frustrating. That's really frustrating for like a golfer. And you know what? I commend you. I commend y'all because I think you've listened, or somebody's listened along the line, because you're starting to put aerification notices out there. You're starting to post them. You're starting to put course schedule. And these are things that people have been asking for, like, gosh, for years. And it makes it difficult, though, sometimes for somebody, and you see it in San Antonio golfers, that, hey, do your research. Like, sometimes people just want to go and play. And I know one of the I guess solutions was brought up, and I thought it was a good one, but you kind of debunked it, or y'all kind of debunked it with the numbers, was why don't we charge people like out of towners a different rate, kind of like they do at Torrey, kind of like they do at Pebble, right? Like why isn't that occurring, for out of towners or people that are not San Antonio residents?
Andrew, Kevin,
all you guys look alike, right?
No, not at all. Actually, me and Joe Nunez, our controller, get that a lot, since I'm follically challenged up here.
Well, from behind, y'all look the same.
Oh, well, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Kevin, go ahead.
So I think that everything's on the table, and that we talk about our pricing structure all the time. I think BRAC is priced properly where it should be. I always call it a tourism tax, because a lot of people from out of town come to play there, definitely more than our other courses. But I think that anybody that's a local resident, if they aren't already, they should be a Players Club program member, just because the discounts are the value, especially at Brackenridge. You get basically 25% off every time you play. It's $21 off the rack rate. So really that's what the program's there for. It's for the local residents, and that's that kind of answers the out of town answer or out of town question. But I think that the history at BRAC certainly draws a lot of tourists and people from all over the country, all over the world, with a lot of history that's obviously started here in Texas.
Now, okay, so you talked about like the tourism, but y'all stated, I think I can't remember the number. I mean, I was jotting down notes. I have trouble reading my own handwriting sometimes, right? And you talked about that the percentage of out of towners coming to y'all's courses, right, is extremely low. Like I think it was like 6 or 8%, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound kind of about right, or even lower than that?
It's hard to quantify. You know, when we get an out of towner, we really don't know much about them. We don't capture a lot of their data. But when we look at the people that do play BRAC, as an example, probably 70% or so are Players Club members. You know, and that's another thing that, you know, I talk about on the San Antonio Golfers Group as an example. You know, people are looking at, you know, hey, I'm not going to pay $85 to play BRAC. And, you know, the truth of it is not many people are paying that $85. You know, a significant number of people are paying the reduced rate. So it makes it a little harder for us because we're not getting that $85. So, you know, it's difficult to quantify, you know, 100% exactly how many people are from out of town. I mean, we could look at altering the Players Club program, but it would be a major undertaking. It's been very successful. We have 11,000 people that are in the program now, and it runs pretty consistent. But, you know, I'm a past resident of San Diego, so I'm very familiar with what Torrey Pines and San Diego City does, and it's residents and non-residents. And it makes it very clear, and you've got to prove that information with, you know, a driver's license or something like that. It's very clear cut, very simplified. Me, as a marketing person, would love to have that kind of program, but that's not what we've got, and that's not what our customers are used to. So we're going to stick with what we got for right now, and I think it's working well.
And I think Andrew stated that. Y'all stated that along the way that. Guys, if you're expecting me to go after my guests, it's not going to happen. You know, so some of y'all like want me to kind of stir the pot, and you know what? I'm just going to present it from my point of view. A lot of things that I saw. So if you're expecting me to go after these guys, that's not what I'm going to do. I am going to ask honestly and state, you know, what my point of view honestly. So just in case you're wondering, all right. Now, one thing Andrew stated, and it made a lot of sense, was that you're a golf value course. Like it's a value. Like that's what y'all are that's the product y'all are putting out. And a lot of times, you know what, we have these certain expectations. And I think some of the biggest issues we have, like some of the customers stated, was like the rounds, how long it takes at Cedar. Like it's just like it's ridiculous. And y'all know that. Ruben, you track the carts. You see how long a round takes. And you know what, like what is somebody had asked me about the flag system. I remember you had the flag system. When did that flag system, like, I guess, like, just kind of like disperse?
Yeah, that happened organically. But we're going to bring back some sort of marshaling system, whether it's a flag system or not. Yes. Just
besides Flag Day, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be an every weekend thing. And, you know, if there's busy seasons, we'll certainly do it during the week too.
Yeah. And specifically about Cedar, I can address that from a maintenance and or agronomy standpoint, you know, speaking for Jake. But, you know, next year, the plan is to close Cedar if all the stars aligned and everything goes as planned as far as rounds and so forth. But it's to close Cedar and to get the greens back to the size they were when the course was built in '89, redo the bunkers with the Better Billy bunker system that's used at Almost Basin and at BRAC now. And then also to kind of revamp some of those slopes and, you know, create some berms and things like that to keep balls in play. If you look at a picture, and I've got some photographs in my office of Cedar when it was opened. There's a couple things going on in Cedar. One is the underbrush around the trees and the fairways have gotten smaller over time with the growth of the trees. So there's probably $400,000 worth of tree work that needs to get done at Cedar Creek. And a lot of underbrush needs to be cleared up. a lot of rocks need to be picked up, a lot of things to reshape some of those fairways. But for the most part, it's a hard course. There's no doubt about that. But we can do what we can to free up a little bit of space, let people find their balls a little quicker. Just because you can't find your ball means we probably can't get a mower in there. So a lot of things like that are being looked at, and probably even some changes in cart paths. Cedar takes a beating from cart path usage. I think the number is probably 88% of the golfers that play Cedar are riding. And if you look at how Cedar's designed, if you're off the cart path, you're right down the middle of the fairway. So the fairways take a beating. There's hardly any place for the grass to grow. So it's really difficult course to maintain. Even where the location of the maintenance building is, which is actually off of number 3 green, is the maintenance building. So if they have to go to what used to be the old front 9, if they have to go to like number 4 or 5, 14 or 15, that's a mile. That's a mile's drive. So it's a difficult course to maintain, and we're looking at a lot of things to help maintenance, to help pace of play, to help playability and longevity. I mentioned earlier these courses are old. All the courses and everything infrastructure wise has a lifespan. So greens and bunkers, 20 to 30 years max, and they were built in '89 along with Mission Del Lago. So these things are well beyond their shelf life, and you can see that from the type of grass that was used to the infrastructure. Like when there's a rain event, what the bunkers do, they fill up with water, they don't drain, and they become mud. So you can see, like, if you look at Almost Basin, I know you mentioned the greens, like number 2 as an example. The one thing you can't fault, those bunkers are fantastic because there is draining, and all the greens are now to USGA spec. So there's been a lot of work on the infrastructure. Even number two, when I got here in 2001, was horrible back then. And it never really recovered. 15 years, I kind of gave it a break. I said, I'm not going to play Almost, and went back again. And it was still pretty rough. And then when we moved to green, because to get away from the root system of the trees that were there and give it some more air and stuff like that, we thought I had it solved. Then we had another hiccup.
What was the issue? Because I remember you stated to me that y'all sent it off for testing.
Yeah.
So what was the issue?
It came back inconclusive. We ultimately, yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like, it's old Indian burial ground. We're guessing all sorts of stuff, gas, all sorts of stuff. So, the agronomy team, Mick Garza and Jake were out there, flushing out drainage to get some airflow underneath the green. And ultimately it was decided to resod it. And that's what it is right now. It's been resodded, I guess a third time from after it was rebuilt.
You talked about, I was really surprised to hear this in regards to the membership, because a lot of times people think, hey, I'm a member of, like a club. And
Right.
Andrew was really quick to state, hey, it's not like it's a discount club. It's a loyalty, rewards club, right? If I'm not, tell me if I'm correct. If that's
No, that's right.
I think sometimes a lot of people like we look at this, hey, this is what we pay. You know what? We're a member. We're like a Sam's Club. We're like a Costco, and we expect these things. And I thought Andrew was pretty quick to state, no, this isn't like a country club or like a golf club. This is a discount club. And a lot of times people think that we should get more for paying more as, like a membership.
I can certainly understand that, and I think what Andrew's reference was primarily like a members equity club where you've got voting shares and interest in the club. If that was the case, this perfect example would be if this was a membership club. The next time we have to renovate a course, we would go to the members and ask them for some kind of assessment. And that's where the difference comes in that, there is no financial burden on the membership or the people that belong to the Players Club program from a financial standpoint. And that's where the significant difference is. If we're truly adhering to the code of membership, then, we would probably be asking for assessment. Like, hey, we go to the members and ask them their permission to, redo cart paths as an example, or, fix a maintenance, a plumbing leak or irrigation thing, and maybe we have to issue some kind of assessment. So there is a significant difference between the two. There's no financial responsibility whatsoever on the Players Cup program members. That's one difference. And also, it is primarily it's a discount program. It's similar to a Costco club, like Andrew mentioned in the meeting, where you get access to the facilities at a discounted rate.
Well, right here, you got a company. You got a company man, right? Yeah, you did a great job. You got a loyalty program right here. That's pretty much like what it is, right? That this is a company man right here, Dave Roberts, right here. Company man, Dave Roberts. Great answers, Ruben and Kevin. Right on point, Dave. Right on point. Now, go for it, Kevin. Go for it.
Just to add on to that about the Players Club program, I've been here for, I guess, 14 years now. So I was here like right when we created it, and really it was designed to get people to come back to the city courses under our management. We wanted to show off what we've done to some of these courses, and certainly over time we've continued to do that. But we have a lot of members and a lot of loyal members. And I think that the reason it's been so successful is because it creates that loyalty, and they feel like they belong to a club per se. But a lot of these guys, like, Willow Springs can be their home course, or Riverside can be their home course. Most of our members have a home course, and it's usually our course. So it's not like a typical country club membership, but there's nothing wrong with our loyal members taking pride that they're members. I think that Andrew was just alluding to, they don't have an ownership stake or private equity stake into it. And that's both sides of it. Like Ruben said, when we need, capital funding, we're not going to our members or even to the public for funding. We're doing that, with our operational proceeds.
Now, I think that's one thing that I was really concerned, right? So y'all sponsor, and this is a question that has been on my mind, right? Y'all sponsor the Texas Golf Insider. Y'all sponsor the Andy Everett Golf Show. Is there a particular reason why none of them were there and to kind of help in this or cover this? Because I mean, you know what? Everybody can be a keyboard cowboy. It's easy to sit on this side. It is. It's easy to sit on the side and just type. It is. And you know that, Ruben, from dealing with, everything. And Kevin, you know that because you had to put out one of my fires too. Yeah. And a fire that somebody else started. And so is that something that maybe came up and just didn't take shape?
As far as what? I wasn't
that you have the Texas Golf Insider, you have Andy Everett, right. you have these shows that y'all sponsor. Is there a particular reason why they kind of weren't a part of this? Because I think, man, that's great. I think David might do an awesome job, and they had Andrew on the next night. It would have been nice to kind of touch on some of this, and then Andy's on every Saturday morning, and sure. I think for for your customers, I think that would have been something great because you have these guys that have been doing it for so long.
I agree with you. And, it's probably my fault, as the director of marketing to have done that. However, like I said, when we first started, we really didn't know what to expect. I wasn't really sure what it was going to be like. Ultimately, I woke up in a cold sweat thinking, this is going to be San Antonio Golfers Group. And, there's going to be pitchforks and torches. And, I didn't know what to expect. So you really, we were happy that people did show up, but we were hoping that more would have showed up and actually would have, been able to communicate this. But ultimately, I think it did help us understand that, people are very passionate about golf. We know that. I'm passionate about golf as well, obviously. I changed careers to get into the golf business. So I think that, this isn't the last one we're going to have for sure. I think it was eye-opening for us on multiple levels to get in front of people. I'm a big proponent of reaching out to people and being open and honest, and communications is key. And I think that it's important for people to understand, that there's two sides to every story. And, one of the things I had talked about with Andrew specifically was, it was important for me. I didn't get a chance to, maybe I just got a little nervous about being out there, but I want to tell people and list the companies that people that work for us, and when I say us, from Joe to Jake, Joe Nunez, our controller, Jake Snyman, our director of agronomy, Kevin Molyneaux, who's on this call with us, and Andrew Peterson. I'm going to just list off some places that these people have worked. So there's Barton Creek, UT Club in Austin, the Hyatt Hill Country, Canyon Springs, San Antonio Country Club. Let's see, where else? Metro West in Florida. There's been just a ton of places. So I really wanted to let people know that where some of the people that work for the Alamo City Golf Trail and management, where they've worked. So to get people to understanding that people do actually know what a good golf course experience is. And me being a golfer for 30 some odd years, I'm well aware of what a good facility looks like and what a bad facility looks like. There are some golf courses in town that I just won't play after having a bad experience. And I argue, and I also fight from the customer's perspective. So the town hall meeting, I think, was a great idea on Andrew's part, and I think that it was important to communicate as much as possible to people and be open, because we are stewards for the game, and also we want as many citizens of San Antonio to play golf. So it's in our best interest to be open and honest. And I think things like the customer, the course care calendar and announcing as much as possible, that's my responsibility. And I think it's valuable.
Now, I wanted to we've got a lot of questions and comments. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I would appreciate it if you did, answer the ones that I present and post right here. Why do you think during COVID, when people were walking, played in under 4 hours and you were busy? Now with carts, it takes like 5.
I can take that, Kevin, if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, this is the Ruben show tonight,
yes,
guys.
Well, no. I watch. I'm really concerned on both sides of the play. I put myself in the customer's shoes, and like in the meeting, you saw that I showed you some cart traffic on Almost Basin, and what you see, they're all over the place. And what you see, and I think it's a combination. Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong. We see so many new golfers, and so many golfers that don't know that it's okay for you to not watch the guy hit that's in the cart riding with you and then drive to your ball, that you can go to your ball, you can drop them off with a couple clubs. And those kind of things, they're kind of lost in the new golfer. That whole process of, keeping, taking an 8 and move on to the next hole. I've watched guys at Brack take 4 shots off the first tee. The first one's in the 3rd fairway. The second one's in the 9th fairway. I've seen guy hit one all the way to the 4th fairway and then drop it on the ball and hit it again and again and again. And I think what's happening is that you have large groups or a significant number of new golfers that just don't have anybody to show them the ropes or to tell them like, hey, that's enough. Pick up the ball. We're not going to even keep score. Because I've asked around, how did you learn how to play golf? How did you know how to rake a bunker? How did you find out how to fix your divot or fix a ball mark? And it usually is kind of peer pressure. But when all 4 people are new golfers, that's all lost. So, and people are looking at, if you're taking COVID as an example, people are looking at golf as kind of an escape, and they're kind of milking it for all it's worth.
Let me get my money's worth, right? Like no, I'm going to get, I paid $85 or $64, right? Or $65, right? From using your loyalty points. So it's like, hey, I'm going to get every single penny, right? I'm going to get every single penny's worth of this round right here. All right. So some more good questions right here. And I think Ruben knows this gentleman very well, Mike Osman. When we talk about the increase in the number of rounds that the trail courses have had and that impacted the condition of the courses, can you help us understand how Northern Hills, even with its increase in foot traffic, hasn't seen the sample impact on conditions? It's always in great shape.
Kevin, you want to take this one?
I can start it and you can finish it. I know you can speak on it better than I can. So one of the things I would say is the water. They're on a well system, which is separate than all of our other facilities, except for Cedar Creek's also on a well. But so they have different water than the rest of our golf courses. And I would say prior to COVID, it was it was probably around 30,000 rounds, and now it's at 60,000 rounds. So it hasn't had the history of the 50 or 60,000 rounds like some of the other golf courses. And then again, the team there, the maintenance team there, they have all been there for a very long time. So they know that property more than anyone, where if we were to hire a new team or bring a different team over there, they wouldn't be able to operate that golf course the way that our current team can. So I think it has a lot to do with a number of those factors. But I think that the maintenance team, they know what they're doing, and they don't really have to be told to do anything. They know exactly what to do, and they do it really well.
And that's the thing I think I've seen too, is that Mission has just become a course that is very well managed. I think and I think his name is Clint, right? Or is it Clint, right?
Yes.
And from what I hear, like he's the superintendent and the general manager.
And the head pro. Yeah.
How is that possible? Like, dang, and that guy's rocking out there. That course is in great shape.
Yeah, he's doing great. And a year ago, we probably weren't saying the same things. Mission historically hasn't always been the best. The fairways have always been the best, but that's probably because they have less traffic. But Clint's done a great job. I think that he knew that he was going to get more traffic when Riverside closed down, and he certainly has. But the golf course tee to green is probably the best that it's been in over 20 years, I bet.
Agreed.
Now, would you say, oh man, it's amazing. Would you say that maybe Ray Garza and On Par Golf and running Rock and G Grill out there has anything to do with some of that improvement? Because I think it does. It's better.
Yeah, they've been a great partner. I think that they're part of that factor. They bring in good golf instruction and good food and beer. We've got a lot of compliments about his operations, and it certainly added value to that property. Now,
in that regards, you have the renovations of Riverside. I mean, somebody asked me, I played in Houston the other day, and somebody asked me, because they come down from Houston always to play with our golf group. And they asked me, what is your favorite course in San Antonio? And I kind of froze. Like I really froze, right? Because I'm a lover of just golf. And I had to say, at Riverside, because of, that was the first course that I would go to when I was younger with my dad and uncles, right? And it has a lot of, it's nostalgic. It's got a lot of, like sentimental value, because not that I played, I rode in the cart. My dad and uncles would place me over the fence over there by 6, to tea time to bring back some beers way back when. I mean, I'm 43 years old, and I was like, those are my earliest memories of the golf course, right? So I'm concerned, and I'm hopeful that that a lot of that charm that Riverside had is gonna still be there, right? And I think I'm hoping, I'm praying and hoping that you're taking some of the tips and some of I guess like advice from the Southside King Ray Garza of golf, because I mean he's like he's a legend in the Southside.
Kevin, I can answer all that, but
Ruben, you can definitely speak to the specs better than I can, but the layout's still the same. 1 is still 1, and 2 is still 2, and you're still going to go the same route that we've always gone. We're regrassing all of the tees, all the fairways, all the greens, all the bunkers. And it's when you get up to the green, or if you look at the fairway from the tee, it's going to look different. Everything's still in the same layout, but there might be a fairway bunker added here or there. Then there might be some greenside bunkers moved around. I think, is it 16 that's changed? So 16 and 17 are changed. So 16's going from a par 5 to a par 4, and 17's going from a par 3 to a par 4. But everything else is still intact.
Ruben. And to add to that, it's not, just to make sure everybody understands, it is not going to have the same amount of undulation as Almost Basin.
Even though it is the same golf architect, correct?
It is the same golf architect. Went with a completely different look. Perfect example of, if you've been watching the pictures that I've been posting, all of the bunkers are flat bottomed. So it's kind of they're, for lack of a better term, if you want to Google the term template hole, they're basically, they're Donald Ross style design. Of course, you can look at, give you an idea, would be the Chicago Country Club. I'm trying to think of it. Chicago Country Club has got a lot of flat bottom bunkers. So there's a lot of grassy area surrounding the bunkers. So they're not going to have big high lips. like Brackenridge is an example. They're harder to maintain, but also visually they look a little different. You're going to see a lot of grass. There's a little bit of mounding that it's difficult to see with the drone photos, but there's some mounding out there to give you a little bit more character. But the greens are significantly flatter and more approachable than almost. And the fairways, what you notice is if you play any of the other courses and you go to Riverside, like number one fairway is 75, 65 yards wide, and it's still going to have that same charm and feel. So I think it's going to be really exciting. And I'll post some more pictures of the north side of the course in the next few days.
And one of the things I thought, Ruben, it was a great gesture that you did for the people in the room, and you stated that everybody that came is going to get a special invitation to see and to walk some of Riverside before it's open, right? And
right.
That's something that, I mean, hey, you know what? You had a lot of pissed off people there at some point in time, right? But I think a lot of them left happy, and that was a great gesture on y'all's part as the trail. It's kind of a good bridge, to kind of put between y'all as management and the consumer. And I think people want to hear it. What's the expected, at opening date, or where you're shooting for? I know you told me, but I want y'all to say it.
Kevin?
I don't have the exact date. We're anticipating November. I don't think it's going to be before November. I don't know if it's going to be the beginning of November, but I'm pretty certain it will be November. There could be a couple things that happen. Really, the weather has to cooperate with us. There's always some variable factors, but we're pretty sure November. And one thing that I want to add is we're giving the clubhouse a facelift. It's completely gutted right now, and we're redoing the restrooms inside. But the entire clubhouse will get a brand new facelift, and we're gonna have it'll be it's the same footprint, but it'll look really cool. And we're doing some exterior work on it too, so it'll look really nice. And then we're getting a new car barn and a new maintenance facility with a public access restroom right there on the 7 tee box. So I know we've had a porta potty over there, so we're actually gonna get a restroom over there. And on the golf course, we're also doing the par 3. That par 3 doesn't get as much love as it should. It's going to be really cool. It won't have lights. We just can't do it in that area. But it's going to be really, really cool once it's all done. It's going to add a tremendous value to that par 3. It's still going to be really short, but it's going to be challenging, and it's going to be a good spot for a lot of novice golfers to enjoy.
I thought it was one of the toughest par 3s to begin with. It's got bunkers, right? It's got bunkers. It's tight. You got trees hanging over in certain spots.
Right.
You got some crazy undulations, right? And some of the setup. And I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I know. I think I was really tough a few years back in the conditions of the bathroom there at Riverside. And I said, you know what? I was like, I have no complaints about the golf course, the staff, nothing. I was like, it was hard to just go to the restroom in there. And so I'm glad, you're satisfying one customer is in regards to the bathroom. That was my biggest complaint about that place. So here.
And Andy, real quick, just to add, we inherited some infrastructure that wasn't the best. A lot of it's very old. So with the restrooms at Riverside, that's really just the piping infrastructure. But as everybody knows, the parking lot at Riverside is probably one of the worst. So I'm happy to announce that we are replacing the parking lot as well. I know that's been a big complaint there.
Don't take our barbecue pits. That's where we go and we lounge. Okay. Don't take our barbecue pits. I got a great question right here. This is from Bob North. He's a predominant player, amateur player here in town. Are there any plans for ACGT to take over any other courses like some that have closed? Golf in SA is very congested and will get worse as more people move out here. That was one of my questions. That was one of my questions.
Well, I think that Andrew's response, and it certainly probably varies based on who owns it and where that property is, but a lot of golf courses that are closing right now is because that property is worth more than what the golf proceeds can bring in. If you look at the best examples of Palmer, but that's probably the highest real estate of golf courses that have closed in this area. But yeah, it was surprising to us too, especially some of them that closed during or right after COVID when golf really upticked. So there's no opportunity for us to acquire any of those golf courses, at least not to my knowledge. From my seat and certainly the rest of the guys with our team, we would love to have some of those golf courses, but it's just financially not possible.
Right here, I got another question. I got Daniel right here. I will give a compliment, but Willow is in great condition right now. A couple holes need some work, but overall, it's better than it was a few months ago. And I totally agree. And I know one thing that was stated in the Q&A is that you had some people saying some negative comments in regards to the condition of the bunkers there at Willow. And I know one of y'all's responses is that you had a superintendent that just up and left. And I think I need to state that I think Ken did a great job as he was there during the time he was there. And I think he kind of really helped bring some of that back, because I think it all had to start somewhere. And it's unfortunate because I knew Willow from growing up in the game of golf in San Antonio had always been probably the best kept course out of the trail. And I know like in the last year, it got really, really bad. And I think that was one thing that I didn't think was fair. Again, from my point of view, is that stating that, we had a superintendent that up and left. And I guess that was a cause of maybe A, B, and C.
Kevin, I can take that, or?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot on that. But yeah, it was a challenge. Ken's a great guy. I don't have anything against Ken. He certainly left for a reason. I think the main thing that shocked us was just we didn't get any sort of notice or anything. And it really put the team behind for a few weeks. We were trying to figure out how are we going to manage this property with no superintendent. So our director of agronomy hopped in, Jake, and he's been there a majority of the mornings. And then Danny Martinez from Northern Hills kind of pinch hit a little bit and helped out over there. But yeah, certainly we weren't proud of the way that it was 2 or 3 months ago. It's taken longer than we'd like to get it back to where it needs to be. But it's pretty good right now. It's not completely there, but it's absolutely playable. And tee to green, the golf course is in good shape right now.
And I know something that y'all stated, you broke down Riverside, you said Cedar. And now a good question from Mike Osman, and I'd appreciate it because y'all did address it at the Q&A. Can you address the rumor about some of Willow being torn down for additional parking for AT&T and then building up on the backside possible?
From my point of view, I know as much as Michael does. Rumors are just rumors. We haven't been told anything. As far as I'm concerned, we haven't met with anything or anyone.
But Willow is on the schedule, right? Willow is after Cedar, correct?
Yes. We are planning to do Cedar next summer, from probably March to August, and then probably that December we'll close Willow Springs, and that will take anywhere from 8 to 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, if you do a Google search, there was a commissioner out there that was trying to lobby the city to basically create a situation that they got in Dallas-Fort Worth area with the football stadium and the baseball stadium right next to each other and have a whole sports complex. It also included, some ideas of affordable housing and things like that. But none of that stuff is materialized. Also, I mean, beside everything, Willow Springs is in a floodplain. That's why there's a golf course there and not homes at the moment. So there's basically 2 runoffs that converge right next to hole number 10 and then run through the course. So when it rains, that course gets flooded pretty quickly. Same with Almost, as an example.
Well, so guys, no, guys, I wanted to thank y'all. We're kind of coming to the tail end. I appreciate everybody who's commented and, just a couple of things on my end right here. I spoke to, it's funny, I had several Alamo City Golf Trail employees reach out to me, right? And they're like, Andy, what's going on? What's going on at the Q&A? And I said, you know what? You're going to have to wait just like everybody else. Tune into the recap. And I had an employee tell me, who's a good friend of mine, said, Andy, I think, it's clear that you are really one-sided when you're on your podcast, when you're on social media, is that you are against the trail. And I said, it's not that I'm against the trail. I've had some bad stuff occur on certain. From the question and answer is that you know what, y'all took it on the chin. And that's something that I see the improvements in the course. I do. I see it. You can't say that the improvements are occurring, right? The course is improving. And I think the biggest thing that I feel is that a lot of people in the crowd had the same sentiments was that is the customer service, right? Is the customer service is can you get all of these customer service to kind of align, right? Like I think you know what, the GM out at Willow does a great job. Like, man, he makes you feel like good when you walk through the door. I think Javi, when you walk through San Pedro, you know what? Almost wish every course, every facility was like San Pedro, right? I think it seems like, I know Javi's not a golf guy. You know what? I know he's had to learn it. I see him out there on the, picking the range. But I wanted to tell you that I think it seems like San Pedro is like super homey. It's super friendly. I mean, you have a monster there. You have Ben and Alex. You got Joe Caruso on the other side. You got Nick Flanagan. You got some of the best instructors in town. And if you could just kind of speak on the immense success that y'all have there at San Pedro.
Yeah, I think that property's been our most successful. When we renovated it, it was 5 or 6 years ago now. It was really just a mom and pop shop, and it was a busy mom and pop shop, but it needed some love. And so I think the renovation kind of helped and piqued a lot of people's interest. It's definitely helped that property. But, having a leader like Javi there, he's a customer oriented guy. And really that's the kind of people that we're looking for. He cares about our customers, and he wants to make sure everyone feels like they're at home. But yeah, that property's doing very well, and it's a very difficult place to manage. It's open a long time. It's open from 7 a.m. to midnight. So it's a difficult property to manage. And it's been extremely busy really ever since COVID started. But before you cut me off, Andy, I wanted to add on to, the main reason that we did this Q&A was because we wanted to provide some transparency, and we wanted to give people an option or an opportunity to provide feedback, and make sure it gets to the right person. We get a lot of complaints. I certainly deal with a lot of complaints all day long, and probably I only get 10% of them get to me. But I think that the whole idea behind this was to give the public an opportunity to come talk to us, get to know us, know who we are, know what we are, know why we are. And I think we did that. We didn't get the turnout that we expected, but I think that was our first time doing it. And we didn't really know what to expect. And I think that we at least gave that opportunity, and we learned from this. And I think when we do another one, I think it'll be better for everyone. But I think the main goal out of it, which we achieved, was we just want to be transparent, and we want the public to know that we do listen, and we do receive feedback well. And I think we take action on feedback too. I think that we do make decisions based on people's comments and concerns. So, we're here to listen to everyone, and we're going to continue to get better.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on here. I felt it was important that, again, I just wanted to put it out there, right? I don't. Yes, do I like to stir the pot? Hell yeah. Do I love a good toxic personality? Definitely, right? That's a hard definite. And I thank you for being on here and being transparent with us, because you know what? I'm going to tell you, I thought some things were kind of, before I get off here, I thought you had some people that you had some loyal ACGT loyalists that were making some faces, whenever I guess a certain person or anybody like the Patriots kind of stated these outlandish claims that y'all have sometimes, like a 5-some, a 6-some, and it's just like, because a lot of times those things do happen. I mean, do they not? Right? They do happen at y'all's courses, right? And it's just like, I know y'all take the hits, and I know y'all deal with them. And I think the main point Andrew was trying to state from the whole thing, if y'all agree with me or not, is that he stated that things have got to change, that y'all are going to be accountable, and that if things don't improve, like, y'all are going to answer for them. Is that correct? Right? He was pretty clear that things were going to change, or that heads were going to roll if they don't do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And
yeah,
just to speak on the 5-some, 6-some thing, Andrew said, if there's a 6-some out there, you need to call us immediately. And it's not your job to call us, but certainly that would help us alert us. But I think that's one of the things that we're trying to improve on is having a better presence on the golf course. If anyone ever sees a 6-some, we're not ever allowing that. And as far as 5-somes go, right now we're not allowing them on Saturdays or Sundays. And we're talking about maybe eliminating them 7 days a week. I know there's a lot of guys that like to play 5, but it's really a pace of play issue. And I know a lot of guys say that their 5 goes faster than others' 4, but it's a decision that a lot of other area courses are doing, and it's certainly something that we're looking at. And sometimes it's just the optics. If one group sees 5 and they were told no 5, or maybe the last time they played they couldn't run 5. I think that sometimes it's just optics, and every group's different. But we're gonna make those decisions for the best interest of everybody overall. So it's something that we talk about, but certainly you shouldn't ever see a 6-some out there.
Well, guys, thank y'all so much for being on. I appreciate it. I do. It's not easy. It's not easy sometimes taking it on the chin, and you got people chiming in left and right. Right here. I want to put out a couple of comments. Ruben, y'all are doing great. Y'all are doing great work. The golf business is only understood by those who spend day in, day out. Trail conditions are getting better and better each week, and they are. And that's one thing that I know, myself, and I'm hopeful that our group can come back to the trail. And because what y'all do, y'all offer a great value. The product's getting better and better. And I appreciate y'all's transparency, because I think as y'all have been transparent more and more this last year, I think it seems like it's kind of put out some fires. And I appreciate the question and answer and giving this guy some time. I do. And I appreciate everybody who chimed in, who commented. And I think we all want the same thing, right? We all want great conditions. We want value golf, and we want to get in and get out.
Sounds good. No, great. Thank you, Andrew, for having us out here. I mean, it's a good opportunity for us to show our face. And Kevin was a little hesitant, and I'm glad, Kevin has a lot of experience with the trail and in golf in general. And, all the course managers report directly to him. So a lot of the stuff is on his plate. So he hears, all the complaints, and I get copied on them too. And I may be the first to respond at times because I kind of take on that role. But Kevin ultimately is responsible for implementing a lot of the fixes and changes, and helping customers out. And he's definitely customer focused. If you've ever dealt with him, and I actually have talked to Kevin as a customer before I was an employee, and he puts his word where his mouth is. So it's important.
Well, Kevin did a good job. Had an issue with one of your employees, and Kevin did a great job. He calmed me down. I'm not too sure what the direct, I'm not going to say, well, the direct result is that we didn't have any events at your courses. So I'm still kind of waiting for, it's something in my stocking, right? To kind of get a little payback. So I'm not going to say, it calmed me down, but I don't know if it was resolved, right?
That's customer service 101. I calmed you down. But ultimately, we couldn't come to an agreement. And I think we were both okay with that. And I think there might be an opportunity in the future that we can certainly discuss that. But I think that a lot of times people just want to be heard, and that's what I'm here for. I don't tune anyone out. I want to hear their concerns. And, if we're not doing something the way that we're supposed to, then I need to know about it. And I really do appreciate positive and negative feedback.
Yeah, guys. Well, I appreciate it so much. I'm going to bring on one of the premier amateur golfers here in town just to kind of review this, because again, people have two sides. There's two sides to every story, and I'm thankful for y'all taking it on the chin. Ruben, I'm thankful that because I'm giving away a couple free rounds to any Alamo City Golf Trail course, because Ruben, and the crew gave out free rounds, and Ruben gave me a few more, and I was appreciative of that. And I don't. You said here, take your family, and I said I can't put up with my family for 18 holes. So I said I'm going to give it to the viewers. And thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. And Kevin, I got that ace up my sleeve, to phone a friend. All right, I'm just letting you know that.
All right, bring your wild card too.
Okay. Woo.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Andy. See ya.
I really want to thank Kevin. I want to thank Ruben for being on tonight. It was amazing for them to come on and to be on here. It's not easy, right? It's not easy for to answer all your questions. And you know what? I'm going to bring on a good friend of mine. Let's see right here. Casey Carnes right here. We're going to bring him on and just to see where his thought is because he's one of the well-known amateur players here in town, and just to kind of see what his thoughts were. And I think Andrew even stated it in the meeting. He's going to put his money where his mouth is. He wants his guys to do the same, and we'll see. Casey, C2, thanks for joining the show, brother.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate the invite.
All right, man. I'm going to take you off real quick and then try to bring you back on. We got a little audio issue right here. Or I don't know if let's see right here. I'll take you off, and then if you would click sign on back on. All right.
All right.
There we go. Right here. All right, we got Casey coming on. He's going to just kind of talk about his experience and what he's hopeful for in regards to this Q&A and the sincerity of it. And hey, Kevin and Ruben did not have to come on. They did not. And that just kind of goes to show you, talk is cheap, but you know what? They got some great plans in place. You know what? The courses are up and coming. I'm also giving away 2 free 1-year subscriptions to Golf Pass. That's it. Let's try this again.
All right. Any better?
There you go. That's better, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for being on the show. I know you're traveling right now, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah. No, I'm here in Abilene, Texas for work. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate the invite and always like talking golf.
Well, Casey, the reason why I wanted to have you on is because you know what, you've been on the other side of the desk, right? You've been on the other side of as a golf pro. You used to work, at Northcliffe back in the day, and you kind of see golf pre-COVID, golf, after COVID, and how the boom is now. You're a predominant city amateur player. You play in some of the biggest tournaments. You play in, TGA. You play in these Texas Am. You play in all these tournaments here. Now, where do you think that Alamo City really has got to do in order to improve their product?
Honestly, I think that some of the course managers that they have need to have a golf background or have some kind of a, golf pedigree. I see a lot of guys that, even on their golf staff that don't have their shirts tucked in when they're working behind the counter. I know that sounds stupid, but that's one thing. Look professional. I think that throws a lot of people in some, if you got somebody behind the counter and their shirt's untucked and they don't look great. It kind of goes that way. I honestly think that cart path only, after you've aerified and after you've fertilized, Landa and New Braunfels, I know that they go cart path only. Whenever they fertilize and do everything, they go cart path only for 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm not saying they don't care if people don't come, but they do that so that the golf course is in better shape, so the seed takes, so you're not spreading it all over the place. There's a lot of justifications for it. And I know that you're going to, I've been on that side where, man, it's cart path only. Why is it cart path only? Well, we're protecting the golf course. That's what you're doing.
And I think that's the thing that, the biggest argument that people have always is that the volume, right? They, Alsatian, Landa, they don't have Golf Club of Texas. They don't have the volume that, that a Riverside would have had, right? That of a Willow. They always talk about this volume. And I think that's one thing that I can say that they were talking about reducing. Is that reducing play? And I'm like, you're only going to reduce play a certain ways, right? Like closing the course, letting it heal, which they did state, and raising the rates, But the thing is, nowadays, and that's one thing, and previously that we've talked about. You said that's the one thing And you know what? I guess I'm an idiot. I never thought of this. You said that's the one thing that's killing, you know what, amateur golf right now, or golf at the local level, is that the overpricing of golf. You know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's, you know, I mean, as far as volume, I mean, Landa does 50 to 55,000 rounds a year. I mean, they're putting rounds out. I mean, you know, I know a couple members that were there that left because they couldn't even get a tee time. So I mean, you know, it's, you know, I think the city's gotta, you know, not the, I mean, you know, ACGT, and it's not, I mean, it's not the city, but I think that they've got to, you know, step up and say, hey, we are cart path only for, you know, 3 weeks after we airify everything, or, and let the golf course heal. You know, let the golf course, you know, I mean, Brack front side forever. You know, you got 6, 7, and 9. It's always bare. Even number, you know, 1 and 3. It's just, why not cart path only on the whole front side? You know, I'm not trying to say, you know, that somebody that, you know, has got to, you know, I'm not saying that I don't want handicapped people to play that can't walk, but I mean, you're walking all over the golf course. I mean, I'll pick on my dad. My dad's the worst one. I mean, if he could drive right up next to the green, he would. But I've also watched him walk 200 yards to a golf ball, and you know, so it's one thing or another. But that's going to protect the golf course. You know, I mean, I mentioned to you. You know, I remember when this thing first came out, the roundtable discussion deal, and then I never saw anything else on it. And I think that's why their attendance was down. I went back and looked on Facebook and scrolled. I mean, you know, just sitting there up, never found anything. You know, I think that, you know, for it to be successful, I mean, Ruben should have been, I mean, he's the marketing guy, and that's why I'm picking on him. He should have been, you know, promoting it a week out, you know, a month out, you know, just almost an over promotion. And I get that, yeah, they should have been scared because there's a lot of negative that goes on. And but I think that they need to hear that. And then as a golfer, we don't need to hear that, oh, we're going to raise the rates $1 to $3. And, oh, we've got exponentially more rounds. And the reason that the golf course is in bad shape, because I mean, what I took out of that is the reason the golf course is in bad shape is because you're playing it.
It's because, yeah, that's it. And that's what I want to hear from somebody that has been in the game, that's been on both sides. So because I've never been on that side, I don't know. I do not know. You've seen, you know what, Northcliffe back in the day when it was a bad course. You saw when it was in good shape, and then you saw that kind of led to the demise of it. And that's one thing I did state to Ruben, that, you know what, they sponsor some predominant shows. We know Dave Roberts, one of the best people in this city, not just in the game of golf, just one of the best people. And you know what, you have Andy Everett Golf Show. They host them. Like, I think that's something that, and I alluded to that, like, hey, like, you have this huge marketing market that to golfers or to the, you know what, the demographic golfers that they're trying to hit up. Right. That's one thing that they really could have got on to get more people out there. Now, maybe you know what, where they said they weren't content, but you know what, did maybe it take some heat off? Oh, it definitely did. You know, it definitely did. Maybe hearing only a few complaints as opposed to, you know what, that times 10, you know? Right. Yeah, and, no, I mean, for sure. I mean, you know, I haven't talked to Dave at all on it. But I mean, you know, did they even know about it? Well, the next night it was because we host our show on Wednesday, right? So I had my show on Wednesday, and I always try to follow. I try to get some of Dave and Mike's crowd. I try to get some of Dave and Mike's crowd, right? Well, they hosted, and they actually had Andrew Peterson on the show. And again, I'm not like I love Dave. Dave is a good buddy, and I'm not trying to take any shots at him or Mike, but it was not something that was brought up. Andrew didn't bring it up. They didn't bring it up. And you know what? I thought there was a lot of I thought there was a lot of positives. It was funny because, you know, I had these people like you had these old guys like talking trash. You know, it was. You had some ACGT loyalists in there making these faces, you know, like making these like bitter beer faces as whenever anybody said anything negative about the trail or any of their stories or their situations. And I just, utilize like 2 golf programs that they state, you know, it hit their market, you know, and that's where I thought, because again, you know what, that's just where I was at. I was like, you have some two predominant, you know, or several predominant golf personalities in town that hit their demographic, that hit their target audience, right? And I think that's something that they could really utilize in the future to get that number that they stated they want.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, you know, Ruben said that he may not have done a good enough job in promoting it, and, you know, that he was worried about it. And I mean, like I said, I get it. I mean, we both watched that San Antonio Golfers page. And, you know, I mean, a lot of it, you know, when people are bitching about Cedar being 5 hours, Cedar's going to be 5 hours. I mean, I don't care who you are. I mean, even for me, it's not a fun golf course. Like Michael Freeman and I talk about it all the time. He loves the golf course. I'm not going to say I can't stand it, but it's not my favorite to go play. Now,
you're a walker though. I don't mean to cut you off, but you're a walker though. Is that a walker's golf course?
No, well, no, man, I'm fat. I'm not a walker. I mean, put me in a cart.
I see you walk out there all the time.
I'll walk. I mean, I'll walk if I have to, but I mean, when you see me walking, honestly, more than likely I'm riding with somebody and I'm walking to my ball. Like, again, I brought up the pace of play issue. I thought it was really interesting. I mean, I played a lot of golf just like everybody else did during COVID. You know, 10-minute interval tee times, golf courses were packed. You couldn't get a tee time. And I'm playing in 3.5 hours. My wife, you know, sometimes would be like, what are you doing home so early? You know, and it's like, well, I mean, I played 18. And then, you know, you come home, you know, after carts and it's, you know, you're 3 hours behind or 2 hours, you know, longer. I mean, it's just one of those things. And I think that the marshals, you know, the starters at the golf courses could go over, hey guys, to speed up play, you know, this is what we're telling everybody, or give them a sheet. I mean, yeah, they're probably going to get thrown on the ground, probably going to get stuffed in the cart. I understand paper cost, whatever, but put it out there to, hey, when you get up to your drive, you know, if you can walk to your ball, I mean, that would speed up play by X amount of minutes. Just like I used to explain to people whenever we used to do shotgun starts. If you have 90% of shotgun starts, they double tee a par 5 and single tee a par 3. That should never be the case. You should always double tee a par 3, and the very next hole, if you can, single tee it. Because they play the par 3. By the time they get off the par 3, those people have already hit the drives. They've already hit their second shots, and that guy's teeing off. It was 48 minutes quicker in a shotgun format. 48 minutes doesn't seem like a long time, but hey, me and you've played in scrambles that have been 6 hours, 5.5. 48 minutes, and I mean, you know, you're getting rounds done in under 5.
That wears on you. You know, that wears on you, and those are things that they do. Man, they upcharge for those things. You know, for those little things, and a lot of times, you know, and being part of an organization, like, you just want to get what you want to get what you pay for. That ultimately at the end of the day, right? I mean, and you want to at least feel like that, right? Like you want to feel like, hey, you got the, you know, we all work hard for our money, right? Well, at least the majority of us do. We work hard for that money, you know, work hard, play hard. And so a lot of times we want to make sure that you're doing what you say you're going to do. And a lot of times, and I do get that. And I am hopeful that they do work on that Marshall program, because I mean, and you love it. You love it. Like, who was the old Marshall at a Northcliffe? Was it Ed Mitchell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Man,
yeah.
Hey, that dude was a character. He was a character, right? He trained me. And I mean, we did some crazy things, like if a customer wasn't listening, or if they were too close to the greens, right? If they were too close to the greens, and you know, taught me to, hey, when if it's in between play, go and take the sand and fill the divots that aren't filled, and things like that. And you want to see, like, you want to see, just put in the work, like just do what's listed on the title, right? On the description. And I think you stated that too in regards to professionalism. But I hate to say it, like that's kind of like the trend. Like I worked at HEB when I was growing up, when I was younger, and you couldn't have tattoos showing, no ear piercings, this, and this. Well, now, like you see everybody have, gauges, tongue pierced, eyebrow pierced, nose piercing, tongue, jeans. And those are to get those people that will go work at a Bill Miller's, will go work here or there, because they don't have to do they don't have to look as professional. They can be a little bit more relaxed.
Right.
And
but at a golf course, I mean, I grew up, my first golf job, my first actual, when I was in the golf shop, we had to wear pants, slacks all the time. I mean, whether it's 108 like it was today, or, and I never understood why. And, he always, the guy always told me, if you do the small things, the big things take care of itself. And, like putting straps in the when you're, get done in the cart, putting the straps in, it just looks cleaner. Does it do anything? No. Hey, is it a pain in the ass for the golfer to go and grab it and pull it out and do all? Yeah, but it looks better. It's just an appearance thing. And I think that's where, like you go to Canyon Springs, for instance, they're always busy. You go to Silverhorn, they're always busy. But it's a cleaner look. Their staff looks cleaner. It's just a cleaner look. And I think if the ACGT would do that, hey, it would be, it would look better. And if something looks better, you're willing to pay more instead of paying less. I'd heard a bunch of good things about Northern Hills. I played it actually like twice during the 4th of July. And bad thing about it, I was really disappointed in the greens. They're slow. Just really slow. And I had heard how good the greens were. So that was a huge disappointment. But what I liked, I saw Al Martin out there checking water jugs, going out there checking pace of play, leaving his guy. He did leave the guy a guy in the shop. They were busy, but he went out there himself. And I saw him, I know 3 times Saturday, and I think twice on that Tuesday, checking water jugs, just monitoring the golf course. And, I was like, hey man, I thanks. Cause I've never seen any other course manager do that. I'm not saying that they don't do it, and I don't want anybody to take offense by it, but to see him out there doing that shows, more effort. And
then you'll have employees follow suit, right? Especially it's like you're not leading from the back, you're leading from the front. And I think that's great. Like that's great to hear. But that's why you get those ranting and raving in regards to Northern Hills. Yes, you like immaculate lightning greens, like lightning greens. Like
I don't need them fast, but I don't want to, I don't want to have to just like pound a ball from 6 feet, and I get that. Like me and you've talked about like Houston. You go over to Houston, I get it. It's completely different weather conditions. Golf courses are way better. Even their public courses.
But the price is higher too, though. It is higher. It is higher over there, right? It's kind of harder to get. It's harder to get on Gus Wortham. It is. But again, they kind of redid that track, so it's getting a lot more play. But I think one thing I just played Tour 18, right? I recently played Tour 18 on Friday. And I think the thing is that a lot of times we're trying to save the greens. We're trying to save them out here. And I think that's the big thing, is that they don't want to go back to where they were. So leave them long so they can have them the next day. And you know what? And I think the thing is, hey, just roll them, right? A lot of times, hey, roll them. You know what? But you know what? You've played on a lot of immaculate tracks. Like for me, like that's one thing I am starting to say. I'm getting bougie in that sense. Oh, these are slow. They're slow. They're slow greens. I don't want those firm, fast, lightning greens. And I think if that's something that that it could be, considered a bad thing. I think Northern has like less problems than a lot of the other courses, and it's great to see. But it goes back to that management. And you see that out there, and you appreciate that, right? Like you know what? Okay, I'll come back just because you see stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I know Mission, doesn't get a whole lot of play, but I mean, Mission to me is still the best. Whether it's country club or not, all 18 holes out there. I mean, it's good.
It's got a great layout.
Really
great
tough
layout.
Holes. So I mean, I played with Casey Graham, in the South Texas Golf Trail. I played with him in that at the beginning of the year when I was right before shoulder surgery, and I was like, man, it's coming back. Like I see all the stuff about, this green's, got a, spot in it and this and that. I mean, man, it's so easy. I mean, like you said, I've been on the other side. Before I left Woodlake, I was head pro superintendent and knew nothing, to be honest.
But be careful. You're dating yourself here. Woodlake Golf Club. You're dating yourself.
I am, but I had to deal with those things. And I mean, those things can pop up over, 2 weeks, and it takes a month to get it right and to get it back. So, I mean, I take that kind of stuff with a grain of salt. To me, I wish that you look at, Ruben and Kevin, and I know that there was a picture of all of them in that meeting last week, and, they're all in slacks. They're all in, collared shirts, or, it looked like Andrew may have been in a button down. Why not hold that same level for your staff in the shop? No matter, and I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's just an hourly guy or not. Why not maintain that, professionalism? I mean, at Landa, like they wear shorts at Landa, but, part of their deal is I know they've got to have, shirts tucked in. At Bandit, they're in Silverhorn, and, they're slacks and, collared shirt, no hats. They look professional. My dad's always said, professional people have professional ways. And I like that statement. And I think that if they would do that, I mean, I've seen some people work at BRAC, and I understand that it's hard to get people and everything, but this is pre-COVID. There was somebody in there, and I went and asked, hey, can we play another 9? How much is it for another 9? And they looked at me with the most blank face ever and had no clue what I was talking about. And they're like, well, it's, $50. Well, no, I already played. Like it like
a replay rate.
Had to call, and I ended up just calling Ruben and being like, hey man, I need your help. Can you call down here? So, but again, if they would do that, I think it would be better. And then, they touched on the maintenance staff, I understand they're doing all these renovations, and obviously they've got the money, and it's a nonprofit, and they've got the money to do this. Put more people on maintenance staff. Put 2 more people. Whether that's $40,000 a year each, plus everything else. You're looking at $100,000. I get it. It's a lot of money, and you got 7 golf courses, or you could say 6 because you probably don't need the extra, person at San Pedro. But put another person out there to, just cut around sprinkler heads, do the small things that look good. It was funny. I went and I was actually playing with a head pro of golf course a couple weeks ago, and we were out at a really nice golf course. I'm not going to name the golf course, but we were at a really nice golf course, and he's like, well, what do you think? What do you think of the golf course? I said, never play it. And I go, it's good. And he's like, well, why do you say it like that? And I'm like, well, look at this tee marker. And it said 343 yards, and it's just got grass all over it. Like I was kicking it away and I go, why? Y'all can afford for somebody to come out and make this look better. And, He sends me a picture like a week later. He goes, everything's done. And I go, well, how does it look? And he goes, it looks way better. And, Dave and I used to, when we were, at Northcliffe, we used to, do those small things that, the golf course might not have been in great shape, but it looks like you're doing something if you do the small things right. And I think that that's the way, if the Alamo City would look more professional and have their staff be more professional. I'm not talking about the cart kids. Look, we've all had the cart kid that, but the staff that your first impression when you walk into the club isn't a guy that has a shirt untucked and, looks like a slob. And I'm sorry to say that. I mean, when I've walked into them and it's just like, good Lord, like, do you, one, who are they hiring? And two, do you care about what, it's a first appearance, what they look like? So
this is a great comment right here. I can't tell because I got this going to several different things. I had technical difficulties. I'm at an undisclosed location here because my freaking Google quit on me. Right here, training processes and culture. It starts from the top. Doesn't matter if it's a golf or a Fortune 500 company. And amen. That says a lot right here. That does. And gosh, I just think that they have good people. They have good people, Casey. They do. They have good people. They have good people around them. It's just like you almost wish, what? I'm jealous because I think we should be jealous because we do have some great courses. The trail has some great facilities that they don't have in Houston, that they don't have in Austin. They don't, a lot of times, they're all separate entities, right? Separate facilities. And I think that's something where we are a little spoiled here is that, what we see and, I know you being on both sides of that golf professional, being in the pro shop and being that player and that amateur player, you see how much potential, right? How much potential this monster has, right? And I think that's kind of where it's kind of discerning here. All right. So I got some great comments here. Jesse Martinez, who I played with on Friday. Many Houston courses do have really good conditions over the last couple of years, but golf in SA and Austin area is much more interesting. Well, I mean, we kind of say that. I mean, right? He's from Houston. He lives in a little city outside Atascosita, right outside. It's where he's down the street from 218. And so I think we kind of say that too when we travel, right? I mean, you travel all the time for golf.
Oh yeah, I've got the West Texas Am this week up in Abilene. I've got work the next couple of days, but Thursday I got a practice round. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I play all over. I mean, it's not a and San Antonio's got you've got 2 to 4 feet of dirt, and then it's limestone. It's tough conditions to grow grass, but again, it's 90% of the time I've ever played Brack number 7 is cart path only. And it's still hard for them to grow grass on there because of the tree coverage and everything else.
Covering over the bunker. Yeah. Right.
So, again, when they go and aerify the fairways and all that, why not just say, hey, look, we're going cart path only for a month, or, hey, Landa did all their stuff this week. They're closed Monday and Tuesday. Yeah, they lost revenue, but they get to, like Ruben said, they get to touch up on the stuff that they need to. And look, closing 1 day a month, just for a course maintenance deal. I mean, a country club closes every Monday or Tuesday or whatever.
Valor's closed today. Valor's closed Tuesdays.
Yeah. So, but they can get maintenance done. They can get those little things done and, without, dodging golfers. So, that to me, I mean, is a great idea. Hopefully it comes to fruition. And, because when you have 6 or 7 other facilities, you've got options. The golfers have options. And, that does help. So.
Right there, Scott Williams. Amen. And you're right. And that's something that they were discussing. Bringing that, Casey, 425,000 rounds last year. Dude, that's you know what, they better be putting some money in the facilities, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
like they better be, and it's great. It's great that they are putting money into these.
Right.
There you go. You're good. Scott's posting. You know what? Leaning on the counter, right?
Right.
Leaning on the counter, right there. Hey,
Yeah, I mean, it's just being professional. I mean, you know, that's the only thing that you know I can say. I mean, look, Northcliffe was a mom and pop run deal. You know, Dave wanted shirts tucked in. You know, I mean, during the summer we could wear shorts. I always wore pants. Just that's the way I was taught. No hat. You know, you just look professional. And you know, I mean, if they would do if they would do that and you know, make it, you know, make this presentation. But you know, you're gonna have more rounds when you know you've got another facility closed. Obviously, you know, last couple of years they've closed down. You know, you had almost. Well, then, you know, and I'm not saying that they opened it too early, but I'm going to say that they opened it too early because when you open a golf course in the fall, and all of a sudden you've got this flood rush of traffic on brand new sod, brand new greens, you're going to run into trouble because there's no growing season. And I don't know if that's something that they've thought about. I mean, I heard them say that they're going to open up, you know, Riverside and then, you know, and then go straight into Willow right after that. Well, I mean, you're missing the whole, you're going out of your growing season. And, you know, I mean, it's a tough break. But, you know, and I think that's why, I mean, it's my personal opinion, but I think that's why Almost has struggled. You know, and I'm actually glad to see that they're going to not make Riverside the same way as Almost.
Oh, that man! You had so many people. You had so many. You had many employees like being thankful for that, right? And I have to put a comment. I can't find it here, but freaking my buddy Jeremiah Sierra says, "Why Andy Toda's only putting up white guys questions?" LFAO. Hey man, hey, you know what? Maybe I am. Like, gosh, I don't know. No, I put up this guy Escobar. There you go.
Yeah, hey, I saw some names I couldn't pronounce, and they ain't white.
There you go.
Come on now.
All right. So right here. Okay, I got Brad right here. Brad, 100%. Definitely small things make a big difference. Alsatian, for example, does great just providing us free water bottles at the turn. Okay, now I saw somebody on SA Golfers talking about like, man, I wish they had jugs out there, right? Well, I tell them in the comments, I said, hey, they do give. He goes, I only had 2 hot water bottles in the thing, right, in the cooler. And I said, bro, if you look to the left outside, they got a whole thing of ice chest full of waters for you. They have ice out there. And I said, and he goes, oh, I didn't notice that. Right. I'm like, man, like that, but that's a little gesture that goes it goes a long way, dude. You know, it goes a long way. Self-serve ice, like, come on, that's a treat. Right. That's a treat for us golfers.
No, and I mean, I went out there. I mean, it's a long way from my house, but I went out there and played last year. You know, and Miss Reed, you know, she was like, hey, I'll take care of you, and I paid, and I told her that I paid because I don't need any special treatment. I mean, I wanted to go see the golf course. I had never played it.
Casey, I need this. I need the special treatment. I need the special treatment. Okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm not saying I'm rich by any means. Me and you've had that conversation. But you know, I mean, you know, when I got there, I mean, you know, walk in the door, you know, they greeted me. Everybody looked professional, and you know, I mean, even the cart guys had their shirts tucked in. I mean, everybody looked professional. You know, the golf carts were, clean. It was a great, you know, experience. And to me, if they would do that, you know, I mean, I think that it would go a long way. You know, just raising rates and, and I get it. Everything gets more expensive. But again, I mean, I saw your comment, the guy that, hey, we're going to raise rates for the same conditions. Yeah. I mean, again, you said that, hey, the last 3 years you've had the same thing about Brack's conditions being bad. Why? If we can't grow grass during the winter, go cart path only during the winter. Yeah, that's going to make people mad. Yeah, that's going to, but guess what? What did they talk about? Less rounds on the golf course. The guys that can't walk or don't think, well, I'm going to say don't think they can walk a golf course from, a cart path to the ball. They're okay. They're not going to play.
They're not going to play that course, right?
That course. Hey, guess what? Less rounds, less cart traffic, less foot. I mean,
and you know what? Okay, and they were talking about it, they were talking about educating the golfer, the new golfer. Well, you know what? Hey, when you walk, you learn a lot of stuff about the course and about how to play. You know what? And sometimes I like walking because you know what? You're having to think while you're walking, right? So when you get up to your ball, hey, you've already kind of played out the scenarios as opposed to when you get over there to the cart. You know what? I think when you drive a cart, you take longer. That's what I honestly think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you take longer,
or you take it for granted, right? Or you take the time for granted, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I see it a bunch. I mean, I play in a Friday group. I mean, I'm trying to get out with FOREBROS. I need to honestly probably need to get you or Jeremiah on the phone and just find out some information.
If you're scared, I'll hold you.
Hey, if you're scared, go get a dog. Greg Hiller told me that one time it was actually at Northern on number 12. He hit driver off the tee when it was before they redid it, and I go, man, how'd you do that? I was like, I'm terrified of this tee shot, and he goes, if you're scared, go get a dog. And so ever since then, I'm like, well, I'm not going to be scared of it. But no, I mean, it's just like, for me, it's just having time. I mean, with family and, I have made some decisions for next year, not to play in as big of events. And a lot of it comes down to money for me. But, and I want to play. It's course conditions. It's tough. I got spoiled last year. I mean, I played Country Club of Birmingham, Erin Hills, and those fast greens. No, I don't want that on a daily basis. I don't want greens that run 14 on a daily basis. That gets not fun quick. So
right here, we got some great comments right here. Right here, Dave Roberts. Treat your customers the way you want to be treated. Correct. Right here, Brad. Right on, Dave. And Dave. So if Dave says it, it means it's true. Andy, you are special. So you know what that means? That means it's true.
Right.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that you know what a lot of people said, and I even said it too, is lip service, right? I'm praying because there's some good people there at Alamo City Golf Trail that they do right this ship. Courses are on the up and up. They are. They all are, and it's great.
And it's growing season though.
It is. I know it's growing season. I know.
I mean that's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, the golf course is getting better. Well, I mean, if they're not getting better, then there's soming wrong right now. I mean, and granted, it's hot as Hades out there.
Hey, Olympia's greens are even getting better.
Right. Yeah. But that's the thing. It's growing season. What happens when we get into November, December? The non-growing season. And to me, what are you going to do about the conditions then? And that's where I look at it. I mean, the easy one is to, they could send out a memo to the staff and tuck in your shirts, blah, 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 look professional. Great. Have all your staff have the same shirts. Wear the same shirts, Monday through, Sunday, give them 7 shirts, whatever.
And I know that's something that Alamo City had done, I think like the past 2 years. And that was a great touch. And again, I think they're listening to us, but it's almost like they're kind of fighting us tooth and nail on these things, and it's great. And I said I think you're listening to your customers, and we kind of want to keep that trend going, right? We want to see that trend going. And Andrew was very adamant that he was going to put his money where his mouth is. if they lose Brack again, like I don't want to see. I'm not on the show to have anybody lose their job or anybody like. I mean, this is golf, bro, right? I mean, this is golf we're talking about. This is golf. We want nothing bad or harmful for anybody. Like, but you know what? He was pretty clear and adamant that if Brack is lost again, something is going to happen. And so, like, I'm just like, I pray to God not, because I think the spirits, the game of golf is at Brack. Like, you feel it. I think it's there, right? I mean, the ghost of golf. I mean, the spirit of the game is there at Brackenridge Park Golf Course. It's there. And I pray that it doesn't happen, because I don't want to see anybody lose their job over it. But they were pretty adamant that if these courses are losing, if they lose these courses, that heads were, I mean, like you know what, their livelihoods are on the line, and I really hope that.
I mean, unfortunately, that may be what it takes. I mean, I don't want anybody to lose their job either, by any means, but. You know, people have to. I mean, you have to be accountable. You have to be held at a standard. You know, I mean, I'm at my job. I'm held at a certain standard. My boss, you hold your staff accountable. You're held accountable. I mean, you have to hold people accountable. Why does it keep happening the last 3 years in a row? You know, and hey, there's some guys on that page that just. You know, and I think it's just the abundance of new golfers. You know, and I mean, I love Ruben's comment. Oh, it took me 5 hours and 45 minutes. And, you know, he comes back, well, your card only shows it took you, you know.
I do. I like that. I like that. Like, I like that. I do like that.
You know, I mean, and hey, I play our Friday group. I mean, we play if the pace of play in front of us is good, we play in 4 hours. Pretty easily 4:15. I played out at TPC 2 weeks ago. We played 36 holes in 7 hours. So it can be done, but you have to get to your ball. And you know, if I'm driving to your ball, I'm going to walk to mine. You know, so the pace of play issue is, I mean, that's everywhere. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go. It's Houston, it's Dallas, it's Fort Worth. It's
don't get me started at playing out at TPC, man, because you got a lot of resort golfers that they're there just for the weekend, and man, they're taking a sweet time. But right here, I got a couple other comments right here. Right here, Esteban, the COVID excuse time frame has been long exhausted, and that is true. That is true. It's like, hey. This is where we're at, and you stated it to me too. Like, inflation's a mother, like, and it's gonna come back at a certain point. Some people don't think it is. And I just, you know what, Casey, I have that same feeling that you do, that it may come to bite us. It's gonna bite us. You know what? The game of golf, like, everything is getting overpriced, and it's taking like the average Joe golfer out of the game.
I mean, granted, yeah, I've been out of the golf business now over 10 years, but I remember when, you know, a wedge was $110 and everybody was freaking out. Oh my God, I got to pay $100 for a sand wedge. $209 now. I mean, what's changed? You know, I mean, yeah, I get that materials are probably more, but it's like, good Lord, you know, $200 or $190 for a wedge. You know, PXG came out and, you know, they were, you know, $2,000. Now it's nothing to see a $2,000 set of irons. It's just, it's crazy. I mean, everybody knows me as a tinkerer, and I did just change iron shafts to graphite, believe it or not. But I've had the same, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I got
okay. Tell me, what do you got? Tell me, and obviously Ben and Alex, did they do the work?
Ben and Alex did the work.
Okay, tell me.
It's actually, I've actually got the hat on right now. Terra Forza Golf. It's called Swing Balance. I put the driver shaft in 2 weeks ago. I've been playing the iron shafts for about 3 weeks. So doctor wanted me to do it for my shoulder, just to take some of the vibration out. And because I was feeling a lot just playing. And man, Ben had ordered me a set of shafts, and then he said, hey, I said, man, I need something because I'm just getting beat up, and I'm getting into my major playing for the year, and put them in, and I played 36 out at TPC, and I said, hey, what about this driver shaft? And so got with Tom Relf, and actually we're doing fittings now. I'm not trying to plug anything, but we're doing fittings now at Mach 3 with the shafts because they're amazing, to be honest.
Hey, come on.
I sent you the video. I drove number 2 Atlanta.
Hey, take care of your boy over here, okay? Take care of your boy. Hey, I just wanted something that just falls off the truck, okay?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So as you say that, right? I have. I'm gonna wait till Alex and Ben get back at the shop. The shop opens back up Thursday, right? On Friday, I'm supposed to take my new Strixons over there to Ben, and I need something. I'm looking at some of those black shafts. I'm looking at some of those graphite shafts. So
yeah,
funny how you say that. I'm next. I'm next on the cutting board right there.
Yeah. No, it's, man. I tell you what, I hit somebody. I've been playing them for like 3 weeks now, and I hit somebody's 7-iron the other day. That had a steel shaft, and like I was like, oh my god, I've been beating my body up that, and I hit 4 shots with it, and I was like, I've been beating my body up that bad. So for me, it's just it's longevity, and graphite shafts are getting so good nowadays. I think that's the way to go, and you know, at 41, it's not good. So
right here, I got Josh Zatazua. Where do you get your Strixons at? I tell everybody there was a glitch. There was a glitch in the system. I bought 2 sets accidentally for like $330.
What?
Yes, I accidentally bought 2 sets, but they were each $330. There was a glitch. There was a glitch in the system. It was a 4-through pitching wedge.
So you got 2 sets, paid $640, and did you sell the other ones for $640?
I sold one to Ben on the low end. I hope he remembers me. I hope he remembers me when it's time, right? When it's time to come back. I
tell you what, that guy's made of gold.
He's one of the best human beings ever created.
Right. I mean, and he's got to work for himself because but no, he's a great guy. And I mean, honestly, like Alamo City's great. I mean, it's really good. Good that they have him, and San Pedro it's just that place is rocking, dude. Like, I mean, man, they got studs all over the place. You know that. Yeah, but you walk into San Pedro and everybody. I mean, and I don't know why it's there, but like everybody looks more professional.
Hey, they're all wearing that dang polo. That's for dang sure. All right, right here, Michael Martinez, get shafted. And you know what? Ben got me to buy the first set of their hats, right? And now that they got their second set of hats, he's like, Alex, hey, we got these new hats. And I said, no, bullshit. It's like, you already got me on that fool's gold with the previous hat. Like, I really want their new hat more than I wanted the first set. Like,
I bought 3 of them.
Dude, don't. Casey, don't.
No, the previous ones. I haven't even seen the new ones.
Okay, well, see, with the previous one, like the hat you're wearing, that's more your style, right? And I don't know. I need to wear a hat because I got a fat face. So I'm like, I have trouble wearing those little hats. It makes my face look fatter. But the other hats, like the new ones, like I kind of like those. And so he's like, buy one. And I'm like, no, like you already got me on that fool's gold once. You're not getting me again.
Oh, you'll buy one.
All right here. Some comments right here as we kind of close up right here. Right there. PXG, Josh Zatazua, PXG ruined everything. Hey, nobody does it better, baby. Better believe it. Right here, Scott Williams, love my paradigms with the graphite shaft. My boy this weekend, he played some Yonex clubs. Yonex with graphite shafts. Yonex graphite shafts. Man, like he just really kind of sold me on graphite right here. Also, go here. This is Joe Esparza right here, or Espinosa. I miss Dave and staff at Northcliffe back in the day. I grew up playing there with members in Atlanta. That's Chris's dad. That's Chris Espinosa's dad. Right here. Play golf. Dave Roberts. Play golf with a purpose, not like a porpoise. The old grandpa of golf right here. Okay, and then right here, got another Bob North. He says it's Javi, how he runs things out at San Pedro, and I'm a firm believer, man. That he's good, and they're lucky to have them. All right, Casey. Anything else, man? Anything else you want to say right here before we close off, brother?
No, man. Thanks for having me on. Enjoy our conversations that we have, whether it's through text or the memes or whatever. But,
no, man.
Thanks for having me on, and anytime, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you being on and giving your honest opinion. I really respect it here. I really respect it. Scott Williams says it best right here. Good luck this weekend, Casey. Man, we're always rooting for you, bro. I'm always checking the scoreboard, looking for you, and man, wish you nothing but the best, bro. You keep making I know San Antonio's not your city, but what is it? You're a New Braunfels guy, you're a shirts guy, and but you're making this area proud, bro, and just keep rocking, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for the comments. I'm going to look at the comments right here, and I'm going to give out some rounds tonight. I'm going to put them in the little spinner right here. I'll try to tag as many of you as I can. Thank you so much for your support. Please continue to support the podcast. Continue to support my sponsor, presenting sponsor, FOREBROS Tour, Never Golf Alone Again. Check us out on Facebook, Unknown Golf, for schedules, events, and results. Never golf alone again. If you don't have a home, FOREBROS Tour has a home for you. Also, we take 0 fees. We take 0 fees. 0 fees, 0 dues. It's all about the golfers. All the money you put in, you get every opportunity to win it. All right. Thanks so much for joining the show. Please continue. Support the podcast. Nothing in the game of life. Nothing is OB.